All right, ladies and gentlemen, from our studio here in Florida, you are watching the NAIAFBALL live show special NAI Football Prediction Edition. I am Cory Thorpe. John Cooper will be along shortly. I love what I'm seeing in the comments, guys. Keep dropping who you think is going to be there. And we will we'll watch together. I will have the other direction. Obviously, I can't figure out what the other direction is. We'll have the live show right there, or the selection show right there for you, so that you can watch along with me, and we'll talk about what we see here. But this is the best time of year. Absolutely, 100%, without a doubt. I am stoked. I am ready to see it. Can a Mideast play a Midwest? They try not to. The rules of that the selection committee tries to go by say that they try not to pit conference foes, but I think they mostly want to avoid a teams playing each other in the first round that have already played this season. So, could a Mideast team play a Midwest team? They sure could. At this point, anything goes. I looked at the numbers. One that I think is definitely going to be there when you talk about teams from separate divisions but the same conference playing. Reinhardt's the only team within 800 miles of Kaiser. And why that's important is that Kaiser cannot host, Reinhardt cannot travel. So, and with 800 miles, once you get past 800, you're flying, not driving. So the NAI wants to kind of limit those opportunities where they're going to have to pay for a flight. I don't blame them. Flights are expensive. Holy cow. Will any top 8 have to travel in the first round? Top 8 in the coaches poll that will be dropping approximately in 3 minutes will not have to travel. They are guaranteed home spots there unless there's weirdness like there was last year with Concordia having to travel to Georgetown. Concordia fans are rightfully still a little annoyed about that. Let's see, 6:58. Let's see if they've got it up yet. Y'all are waiting like we're waiting. Bring them to Oleska, Georgia. Oh, starting in 2 minutes. They have a countdown for us. Hot dog. I love it. Let's see what we got here. I wish I could make this full screen. See, it's already started. It's already started. I'm already complaining. But at least they have me a timer here. Let me take the headphones off here so I can actually listen to what's going on. Why can John, you might have to rephrase that. All right. Let's see what we got. All right, I got all my stuff. Whoo! 1 minute until we get with the getting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my stuff. I'm going to be arranging my stuff as well. Why can't Reinhardt travel? Reinhardt's likely going to be in the top 8. And so they will not have to travel at least the first round. Wrong one. So that I can. All right, let's get this going. All right. 40 seconds. All right. Let's just hope it's on time. I know there's been a couple times. There's been a couple times where they've been a shade late. So we shall see. I mean, it is 7 o'clock and they're starting in 30 seconds. So Let's see what we got. So with USF being a conference champ, there are tiebreakers that go into place for who gets that top 20 berth. All right. Well, that's underwhelming. The live video has not started. Of course. Baker in the house. Oh, here we are. All right. Why can't I hear it? All right. Why can I? All right. Now I got to figure out why I can't hear it. Good thing it's only Brad Seigan talking for the first couple seconds. Well, let me try this. I have to apologize to John when I get here. Where's it? Me? It's me. I have it muted.
Qualify for the Football Championship Series field by receiving either an...
Come on, you can do it. I super believe in you. All right, just going over automatic berths right now. Yep.
Are determined by the NAIA Football National Selection Committee, comprised of NAIA head coaches and administrators from around the country. Only teams ranked in the top 20 of the final NAIA coaches poll are eligible to receive an at-large berth. Now, let's take a look at the matchups. Our #1 overall seed are the Blue Raiders of Lindsey Wilson. The winner of the Mid-South Bluegrass regular season went wire to wire as the #1 team in the nation after claiming the national championship in May. The team from Columbia, Kentucky will enter FCS play with a 10-0 record. Lindsey Wilson will be making its 7th appearance in the championship and are ranked #1 in the nation in 3 statistical categories, including interceptions, with 21 on the season. The #2 overall seed are the Mustangs of Morningside. The Mustangs earned another Great Plains Athletic Conference title after surviving a battle with rival Northwestern. Morningside has shown itself to be the most prolific offense in the NAIA in 2021. The team from Sioux City, Iowa leads the nation in 14 categories, including scoring, points per game, total offense, and yards per game. The #3 overall seed are the Vikings of Grandview. The Vikings completed their season on Saturday with a 31-7 win over the Clark Pride to finish with the top record in the nation at 11-0. Grandview finished as the champion of the Heart of America North Division. The team from Des Moines, Iowa ranks at the top of the nation in red zone conversions. The #4 overall seed are the Red Raiders of Northwestern. The Red Raiders rounded out their season with a dominant 63-7 victory on Saturday and finished with a 10-1 record. Northwestern is second in the nation in scoring and first in defensive touchdowns, making the team from Orange City perhaps the most balanced in the nation. When we come back, we'll look at the matchups right after this.
The landscape of sports is changing.
No surprises thus far, John, with what we're seeing. It really is exactly what we had in the polls. The top 4 is the top 4. So now we're just watching.
Yeah, now we get the huddle commercial.
So you get to see that. All right, College of Idaho. That's going to be a problem just because of the fact that College of Idaho, I don't think is going to make the top 20. Oh, we got team issue footballs. I don't think College of Idaho is going to make the top 20, which makes it a real problem for them to force the tiebreaker rules in the Frontier. That's going to be that's a problem for College of Idaho. All right. I'll be there.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought if that's out there.
More commercials. These are friends though. So, all right, anybody in the chat have any questions, any weirdnesses going on with you yet? This seems pretty straightforward so far. All right. Yep, so we're going to go back through Mike Singletary. Yeah, College of Idaho had a lot of people out injured.
The 2021 STM Charters NAIA Football Selection Show. Let's take a look at the matchups, and we will start in Columbia, Kentucky, where the Blue Raiders of Lindsey Wilson will host the Bulldogs of Montana Western. The Bulldogs were the co-champions of the Frontier Conference with an overall record of 8-3. The team from Dillon, Montana won their last game in a 2-overtime thriller on Saturday and will look to knock off the top team in the nation. Our second matchup will occur in Sioux City, Iowa, where the Mustangs of Morningside will host the Spirit of Ottawa. The Spirit grabbed an automatic berth with an 8-1 record to close out the regular season. Ottawa is ranked second in the nation in points per game with 51.8. Des Moines, Iowa will be the home to our third matchup, which will feature the home team Grandview, who will face the Blue Hawks of Dickinson State.
That's going to be fun, too.
Dickinson State earned its place as the champion of the North Star with an 8-2 record. The Blue Hawks are making their 22nd appearance in FCS play. The fourth matchup will feature the Red Raiders of Northwestern, who will host the Eagles of Central Methodist.
Now, here we go.
The Eagles earned an automatic berth as the champion of the Heart of America South Division with a 9-2 record.
That is not the team
This will be the first trip to the FCS for the Eagles in team history. Our sixth matchup will head to Waleska, Georgia, as the Reinhardt Eagles will host this season. The Reinhardt Eagles were the champion of the Mid-South Appalachian Division with an overall record of 9-2. They will face the Seahawks of Kaiser. The Seahawks are making their third appearance in the championship field and earned their spot as the champions of the Mid-South Sun Division.
We'll talk about it later.
Our seventh matchup will head to Indianapolis, Indiana, as Marion will return to the championship field with an at-large bid. The Knights finished with an 8-2 record on the year and will be making their 10th appearance in the NAIA football postseason play. They will face the Mound Builders of Southwestern. The Builders advanced to the championship field as the champion of the KCAC with an overall record of 9-1. In our final matchup, the Cardinals of Concordia are in with an at-large berth out of the Mid-States Mid-East. Concordia is making its fifth appearance in the field and is searching for its first red banner in program history. They finished with an overall record of 8-1. Meeting the Cardinals in Ann Arbor, Michigan, are the Cougars of St. Xavier. The Cougars were the champions of the Mid-States Midwest Division. St. Xavier is making its 14th appearance in the championship field and holds an overall record of 8-2. Let's take one more look at the championship field. The 66th annual NAIA Football Championship Series gets started on November 20th at 8 sites throughout the nation, culminating with the NAIA Football National Championship game on December 18th at Durham County Memorial Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Catch all the action in the National Championship on ESPN3. Thanks for watching, and good luck to all of our qualifiers.
Yep, screenshot that. Man, that only took 10 minutes. I thought that was going to take more like 30, but they never take that long, guys. I should learn every year that they never take that long. All right. So, holy cow. So let's talk about what we've got. One, we're going to have to figure out how you're going to hear this interview, John, so that we can get this party started with Mr. Ward here. Hang tight, and we'll be right back to give you our initial thoughts here on the NAIAFBALL live show, powered by AdCraft Custom Apparel and Merch. We'll be right back. All right, we are back on our live reaction show. Okay, was it just me? Did they totally skip Indiana Wesleyan, Kansas Wesleyan?
Unless I just missed it. I thought we were both kind of paying attention well.
I thought we were too.
Yeah, so
That-
they had 1,400 people watching their stream, so I hope they weren't any Kansas or Indiana Wesleyan fans. First of all, congratulations to the KCAC for getting two teams in.
That is a big deal.
That's awesome.
I just got confirmation that they did, in point of fact, leave off both Indiana Wesleyan and Kansas Wesleyan.
Wow.
That stinks. I mean, for Indiana Wesleyan, think about this. You get left off. It's your first selection show.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for these kids. Indiana Wesleyan got in, but they just, okay. So Indiana Wesleyan, Kansas Wesleyan is your other matchup, since we're obviously going to be the ones to have to break that. Indiana Wesleyan, Kansas Wesleyan is your matchup. Good heavens. I really do like the bracket, just looking at it. Just reviewing it here, we've got Lindsey Wilson, Montana Western, Morningside, Ottawa, Grandview Dickinson State, Northwestern Central Methodist, Indiana Wesleyan, Kansas Wesleyan, Reinhardt Kaiser, Marion Southwestern, and Concordia St. Xavier. Concordia finally gets this chance after last year where they're a top 5 squad to actually host one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just the dividends that's paying off for finally taking control of the Mid-East.
I mean, you remember in the spring, it was they were a top 5 squad, but they got shipped out to Georgetown because of the issues with COVID in Michigan.
Right.
So that is a shame. We are waiting for our main guest to get here. Guys, this is why you're tuned into us. We have, as a guest coming in, the commissioner of the Mid-South Conference, Mr. Eric Ward. We are waiting for him to join our Zoom session here so that we can chat with him. But while we are waiting for him to come on, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors first, and thank them, and then we'll go to the matchups here. So thank you so much to AdCraft USA, your custom apparel, merch, and uniform experts. These guys are very invested. The Sullivan family, who runs AdCraft, are great folks. They have a vested interest in NAIA football. They have family that plays NAIA football. They are some of the best that there is. Contact them, AdCraft USA, on Twitter, or adcraftusa.com. And also Mommy Bay Turf Nation, our normal player of the week. Folks, great folks, putting in baseball fields, hosting folks on their fields for state championships all over the country. Just a great company run by great people who, again, know the small college experience. So let's talk about these matchups while we wait for Commissioner Ward to jump in with us here. First off, Lindsey Wilson, Montana Western. Lindsey Wilson, surprisingly, is the -- 1 defense in the NAIA.
Right, absolutely. They've been definitely improving, and they're a way more balanced team than I think they were last year. They've been dominating so much in the regular season that the offense, their stats don't pop off like the number 1, number 2 per se.
Yeah.
But, because a lot of their starters aren't playing in the second half.
They're really not.
They're really building a foundation for their future.
Yeah, I mean,
while
look at,
they're guys are getting ridiculous reps. Now you're going to get in the playoffs where they're not going to let off on the gas.
yeah, I mean, look at this. Cameron Dukes doesn't even have 1,700 yards. Doesn't even have 1,700 yards. That is insane. This defense has been tossing up so many zeros, so many donuts on the board. Luke Bowman, 56 tackles, 10.5 for loss, 2 picks on the season. Just a great team defense there for Lindsey Wilson. Montana Western gets flown in to Columbia, Kentucky.
Maybe they can stop and eat at the cookout there.
Hey, I love me some cookout. I love me.
Montana Western definitely just deserves, not only for just winning, getting the bid from the Frontier, but because they're one of the few teams that have beaten somebody out of conference that's also in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
might be the only team actually. If we look at that.
Yeah, that's going to be true. Now here's the thing. Someone was talking about why does Montana Western get in? So in the final coaches poll that comes out, or that came out, is coming out at some point today.
Right.
Obviously, College of Idaho did not make the top 20 after losing to unranked Carroll, which left 2 teams in the top 20 there to enact tiebreaker rules. Now, Montana Western and Rocky are those 2 squads. Now, they were 1-1 against each other. This is a problem. We can't do head-to-head.
Right.
It goes to conference points allowed. Rocky Mountain allowed 277 points this season. Montana Western allowed 272. 5 points, less than a touchdown separated them, and that's how Montana Western makes the playoffs against Lindsey Wilson. They do have a good defense, but I'm really interested how their pass defense stacks up against Cam Dukes and gang. I feel like that's going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, the big thing is Montana Western hasn't seen a team like Lindsey Wilson.
Yeah.
Just the elite status. I mean, I feel like, not discrediting the Frontier, great football, but it feels like they're just all bundled up, middle of the road type teams where nobody can separate themselves. They're going to just see a different type of brand of football.
Yeah, it's going to be different from your ground and pound that you get out in the Frontier.
But there's a reason why this is number 1 versus number 16.
Yep. Then we get Morningside, Ottawa. That's going to be interesting. The number 1 offense in the NAIA, almost 60 points a game, versus a team that's putting up almost 52 points per game. I think this is definitely going to be one of those, laughing defensive struggles where it's a decent possibility that both defenses struggle. It's going to be interesting here.
Yeah, I think with Austin McCullough just having such a great experience, us being able to watch him the last few years. The thing is, can a champion of the Sooner finally make some noise in the playoffs? You had Arizona Christian last year go down to Kaiser, take the loss. Langston's lost the past couple of times. Ottawa, Arizona 2 years before that at their, I believe, first playoff appearance at College of Idaho, and played an amazing game.
Yeah.
And just didn't have enough firepower.
That was an offensive showcase.
You're talking about needing to eat your Wheaties that day to keep up with Joe Dolencheck and the Morningside Mustangs. I'm looking forward to seeing, honestly, not if they can keep Dolencheck in check, but can they keep Sims and the stable running backs?
That's really
if they can keep those guys in check, I think they have a chance.
That's really the thing. And also, we don't really think about it outside of like the South. This is going to be an interesting cold weather game for Ottawa. This is going to be up in the cold of Iowa.
Yeah, who knows if it's snow? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's always snow in Morningside this time of year, it feels like. Number 3, I'm really digging this matchup for some reason. Grandview Dickinson State.
Well, and what's funny is you're not a few years removed from Dickinson upsetting a very talented Northwestern team in the playoffs. Grandview, runs the table here again in the regular season, 2 years in a row, I believe, or 2 seasons in a row, not 2 years in a row. But what's going to be interesting with Grandview is can their offense kind of keep improving? I don't think they've hit their peak yet offensively for Grandview.
Yeah, they do need to get healthy really quickly. The last couple of weeks, they've had some offensive linemen out, and that's really impacted Johnny Sullivan's ability to get out and go. It's affected Anthony Turner's ability to get out and get passes. But here's the thing. You get this team in the red zone, they're efficient. You're talking about 93% scores and 73% touchdowns if they get inside the 20. It's over. It is over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dickinson State, they have to play their perfect game and hope Grandview's a little off.
Oh, 100%. Oh, geez. Yeah. We have the correct logo for Northwestern on our graphic, John.
There you go.
We have the correct graphic.
The correct logo.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm looking. Let me look at it right now. Yeah.
Have a look.
Wow.
Oh dear, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Northwestern, Central Methodist. Yeah, like I said in the show, this is not the matchup I want if I'm Northwestern.
No, not at all. And especially because Central Methodist is red hot right now, especially with their win over Baker, and they basically kicked Baker out of the playoffs.
Effectively.
Where Baker was probably the last at-large team looking in. Now you had Central Methodist, take their auto bid away, and they're peaking at the right time. But here's the problem: Tyson Koima is peaking too.
In 5 games, he's got 1,200 yards.
Yeah, we not want to mess with
Let me rewind here. In 12 games, Cameron Dukes has 1,600 yards. In 5 games, Tyson Koima has 1,200.
Right.
The man is back, and he is his old self. Blake Fryer did an absolutely amazing job stepping in. He did a great job stepping in. Nothing against Blake. Though when Tyson's in, that's a completely different ball club. Central Methodist, though, Catavius Taylor with 13 receiving touchdowns. This is not the team I'd want to face right now.
No, not at all. I think this is good for Central Methodist. Basically, if you win, you really get some momentum going. You already took out one of the best teams in the playoffs. No one should scare you after this if you win.
Yep. Our next matchup, the Wesleyan War, is what I'm going to dub this.
There needs to be a trophy.
We gotta have a trophy. We gotta have an impromptu trophy. I will speak to the powers that be about this. We're on really good terms with both of these schools. Indiana Wesleyan. I hate it for these guys. I said it just before. I really hate that they got a little left out. Because that's going to be a problem. I mean, I wanted to see that reaction. I wanted to see that video with their kids reacting to being in the playoffs for the first time. Unless I'm wrong, and someone please can correct me if I am. But me and my intern thought about this a long time. They're the only NAIA team to win versus an FCS school.
This season?
This season.
That's probably right.
Yep, because Reinhardt lost to Kennesaw. St. Xavier lost to Indy. I think that's true. And 2 top 10 wins. We talk. You see Xander Stokes' numbers there. 1,829 yards. Devodney Alford is a dude as well. He's not on the list here. What that tells me, you've got a heck of an offensive line that's keeping Xander Stokes clean and keeping Devodney Alford clean through the line of scrimmage.
And, I'm wondering if coming off a loss to come into the playoffs, obviously you want to win every game. Winning gives you momentum. But maybe does this help Kansas Wesleyan? Maybe just
come off a
mentally.
loss?
Yeah, mentally.
It's a possibility. I mean, Brad Cagle came in again for the second year in a row, just comes in, and it's almost an identical score to the one a year before. Kansas Wesleyan just got a great. Valpo really shouldn't be an FCS school if we're going to be honest. That's true. They are a Pioneer League school. They are Pioneer League, but they're still FCS.
There,
yeah. Kansas Wesleyan second in total offense. Aaron Jenkins, Stevie Williams. They've both been our Player of the Week. Isaiah Randall at quarterback. They've got a really good offense. Can their defense stack up against Indiana Wesleyan's offensive line? I think is the real question here. So that's that. But no, this does need to be a trophy game. Oof.
This is the second conference game that we have. This is the first one we're getting to. One of two Mid-South teams. Reinhardt versus Kaiser. Didn't they play last year?
They did play last year.
And
Kaiser won that game.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm Reinhardt, because Kaiser has had major struggles this year. They started off really well this season, but something's just different about them. I don't know what it is. Their defense is struggling.
They are not Seahawk fast.
Yeah, and so while Reinhardt is still the physical team, you look at their two losses. Reinhardt has a loss to Kennesaw State and Bethel, who is a very good team outside looking in. So both teams are battle tested, but I definitely taking Reinhardt in here with especially Billy Hall, the improvement made by their quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, now Kaiser does have a really good pass defense, but I don't think they've seen anything on the ground like Reinhardt's going to bring. And I think Reinhardt's going to look to just grind Kaiser and keep them off the field. You can't score if you're not on the field. And I think Reinhardt's going to try to grind Kaiser down.
The NAIA is posting a revised version as we speak.
Good for them. Good for them.
Great for you guys, NAIA.
Good job. Marion Southwestern, the Mound Builders. Now you want to talk about stealing a bid. This is where the bid was stolen.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, we had the Bethel Threshers that were a verge of near the top 10 in the coaches poll. They had a schedule with a Texas A&M curricular school that's in Division II that's really good. I looked over their schedule.
Yeah.
They'll probably make the playoffs in Division II. But Bethel took a loss, which opened up the door for two KCAC teams that weren't them. So Southwestern beats Kansas Wesleyan last week, or this past Saturday. So they claimed outright, right?
Yeah, they get the outright because they beat Kansas Wesleyan by more than 7 points.
Right.
We are now joined on the phone over Zoom by Eric Ward, the commissioner of the Mid-South Conference. Mr. Ward, how you doing tonight? All right, I got to make sure.
There he is. Hey, Mr. Ward.
Let's see. We have been having some issues with volume tonight, so I might have to swap out to my own speakers. Can you hear us? Why are my speakers muted? All right, how about now? You can hear, but I can't hear you. Now, why can't I hear you? Technical difficulties. Give us a second, guys, as we try to figure out what is going on with this. All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the commissioner of the Mid-South Conference, Eric Ward, with us live on the NAIAFBALL Reaction Show. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
So, Mr. Ward, I guess the first question we have, first, congratulations to you guys for putting together another great playoff field. I know it's not an easy job. I would not want to do it, so much credit to you guys. My first question is, as Raiders, a committee, looking at that large teams, because we usually don't get many in due to the automatic bids. What are the qualifying factors for you guys just looking at large teams?
Well, obviously, strength of schedule, who they played, who they beat, what their history, what their past history has been in the playoffs. Obviously, you're looking for people who have reached a consistent level of success over a period of time, especially if it comes down to choosing one team over another team as an at-large. So this was probably one of the more challenging postseason selections for football that I've been involved with. And I've been around NAIA football for almost 20 years. I was the athletic director at Georgetown College for 10 years before becoming the Mid-South Conference commissioner. So I've seen a lot of postseason selections, and this was certainly challenging just because of the quality of the teams that we were looking at largest.
Take me through the process real quick of how the selection process works. Are y'all working through the conference champs first and seeding them and kind of getting them in play first, or are you just kind of how do you start that?
Well, the process actually started about 5 or 6 weeks ago. We're broken up into 4 area ranking committees, and there are conferences assigned to each ARC. And there's an ARC chair, and all the Raiders of the conferences that are assigned to each ARC are part of the ARC committee. So the ARC committees have been meeting for the past 5 or 6 weeks. We go through the process of ranking the teams in our ARC. We rank the top 8 teams in our ARC. We've done that about every other week for the last 6 weeks or so. And then the last couple of times we've done that, last couple of ARC rankings, that information has been shared with Raiders. Obviously, the ARC committee has a lot more knowledge and has an opportunity to see the teams actually play more than the National Rating Committee does, or the other ARC committees. So we've been doing that for probably 2/3 of the season, and then that information we compile a list then of all those ARC rankings, and then when we get data from the national office that shows winning percentage of opponents, of one-loss record against top 10, one-loss record against 11 to 25, one-loss record against receiving votes, one-loss record versus unranked teams, one-loss record against teams outside of the NAI. Someone plays a Division II opponent. So the data that we receive from the national office breaks down a lot of different variables, and then we take that information after we get the final national ranking from the National Raiders poll, and we go about the process of identifying. First of all, it's identified for us who the 12 automatic qualifiers were. There were 12 automatic qualifiers this year, and then that only left us 4 at-larges. So when we started the process, we had eight teams basically that fell into that potential at-large pool, and we go through a process of elimination to get that from 8 down to 4.
So how do you balance when you're seeding and trying to figure out who these matchups are? How do you strike that right balance of distance between teams and trying to keep this monetarily feasible versus performance of teams on the field?
Sure. Well, the first thing after we get the field, then we go through the process of seeding, and we basically the top 4 teams in the poll are protected, so they remain the same as the last poll, and then after that, we just take them four at a time, and we order those. We come up with basically a 1 through 12 after the top 4 that have been protected, and then we take them 4 at a time, and we just try to seed those 4, and then we move on to the next 4, and we seed those 4, and then move on to the final 4 and seed those 4. So it's a time-consuming, step-by-step process, but that's all done to try to make sure we get it right. Then after the 1 through 16 seeds have been identified, then we look at the matchups. If we went straight seeds, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, 3 versus 14, etc., and then we figure up the mileage on those matchups and see how many flights we have. The goal is to try to keep the opening round to 2 flights or less. And we have NAI has a self-insurance program where all the football schools pay into this self-insurance program at the beginning of the year, and then the funds that are collected through the self-insurance program are used to help offset travel costs. And the number one priority in offsetting travel costs are reimbursing for those charter flights. So the goal this time was to try to keep the opening round flights to 2 or less, and so we have the ability to move those opening round pairings. We can change somebody's pairing no more than 3 spots. So if a team is ranked, if we've got them seated 11, we could move them up or move them down, but no more than 3 spots. And so after we had the seeding and after we knew what those straight seed matchups would look like, then we went about the process of trying to get it down to 2 flights. In this particular draw, Montana Western and Ottawa, Arizona, we knew going in that those were going to be 2 flights right away. And if we had gone with straight pairing, we would have had a 3rd flight. So we did what we needed to do to get that 3rd flight eliminated in the first round, and so that's why the pairings look a little different. The top 4 seeds, we protected those pairings. So 1 through 4, all were straight seed draws, but then we moved some things around with the remainder of the field to help with the travel.
With you being commissioner to Mid-South, which is a huge conference, football only, with 3 divisions, we know historically the NAIA tries to avoid conference matchups in their first round. And you guys did fantastic. There's only 2 games with teams from the same conference playing, and even then they're from separate divisions, and NAIA in divisions, you're kind of strangers. My question is, as we go further along, maybe in the second round, do you guys worry about teams in the same conference as much as the first round, or no?
No. Once we get through the first round, we pretty much try to follow straight seed. Once we get through the first round, the policy is that we try to avoid matching up conference opponents in the first round if possible. We've got a couple of, for instance, Kaiser is going to Reinhardt in the first round. They are in the same conference, but those 2 teams did not play each other during the regular season. So this will be the first time that those 2 teams have seen each other this season. So with that being the case, that's something that the system would allow to happen and actually would be encouraged if it helped minimize travel.
We're talking with Eric Ward, Commissioner of the Mid-South Conference and member of the National Selection Committee for Football for the NAIA. Mr. Ward, so how much watching on the final day do you do, kind of like on decision day, to kind of get an idea of, here's where some of the bid stealing could happen, or this is gonna make the selections difficult. How much watching did you do yesterday to kind of get an idea?
Well, I think to do the job, to be a responsible member of the committee, you have to watch. You have to pay attention to what's happening. I think yesterday the most important thing we were watching were those teams that might qualify for an AQ, but were on the bubble rating wise. For instance, Kaiser went into yesterday having to beat Ave Maria to get a share of the Sun Division title. Southeastern had already pretty much wrapped up a share of the title. They had to play Florida Memorial yesterday. If Ave Maria had beaten Kaiser yesterday, and Ave and Southeastern would have been tied for the division title, and then it was a matter of waiting to see if Southeastern could have managed to work their way into the top 20 to qualify for an AQ. So if there were a lot of pieces even up to the last minute yesterday. Ave and Kaiser were still playing last night, and so that game wasn't final until about 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we were paying attention because obviously, you have to know who the AQs are before you can really start putting pieces in place. Montana Western was another that we weren't exactly sure how that with Rocky Mountain and Montana Western. That game went into overtime yesterday. That game had a tremendous bearing on who was going to get the AQ and whether Montana Western got into the top 20. So, that all had bearing on what we were all looking at yesterday. So, quite a bit of watching.
Before we let you go, is the National Selection Committee done at this point, or are y'all going to meet back up in the successive rounds to do any sort of reseeding if necessary?
We will meet again next Sunday morning, and we'll go through the same process with the 8 quarterfinal teams. It won't be selecting who the teams are. It will just primarily be doing the matchups on the quarterfinals, and the same, although it's a little bit more elementary, kind of already predetermined by the time we get to the semifinals. But we would meet again that Sunday before the semifinal matchups are announced and go through that same process with the semifinalists. Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Ward, we appreciate you taking time out of your night to talk with us and just help demystify a little bit of the process. Everyone wants to be in the room where it happens, but if we have a voice from somewhere in that room, it definitely helps the average fan get an idea of what's going on with their playoffs.
Well, there were, unfortunately, from an at-large standpoint, there were more than 4 deserving teams, and it was, for us, the challenge was getting it down to 4 and fitting it into the 16-team field. So, I felt like I feel like we made the right choices. I feel like the opening round has a lot of really good matchups in it, and we should see some really good football next weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your night.
All right, that was Commissioner Eric Ward from the Mid-South Conference and a member on the National Selection Committee. A couple things stood out to me from that that I didn't know. One is the historical impact. He mentioned that they look at how the teams have historically done and use that as a factor. I found that interesting, and something that'll help me next year is they try not to move more than 3 spots on the seating. That was really interesting for me as well to hear. Let me see. Before we jumped off, we were talking Marion Southwestern, I do believe. Marion, they lose their quarterback. They've got Zach Bundalo now under center. I think this is his second actual season in there. But Marion has been just a straight good team.
What I'm eager to see is, different styles of play over there in the KCAC. Southwestern did see a team like Bethel, who is fundamentally sound as trying to run the ball, but Marion is pound the rock
Yeah, they
type
are.
of ball. It's not a I'm reading this. They're talking about double teams, down blocks,
Right.
zone block. You know what I'm
We
saying?
talked about this
Which-
last season
yeah.
with Lindsey Wilson when they played Concordia and Bethel.
And this is a big brand program of the NAIA playing against a program that's seeing itself in the right direction.
Absolutely. You're definitely trending in the right direction if you're the Mound Builders. They actually have an honest to goodness cat in their in their basketball arena named Jinx. They have a live mascot.
Right. That's really cool.
That
One
is
of the coolest
super
things
cool.
in the NAIA.
That is awesome. Southwestern really, I say they steal a bid. That's nothing against Southwestern.
No, not at all.
They
That's
deserve
everything to do with Southwestern.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
and they made life a little more difficult for the selection committee. And then our last matchup, Concordia hosts St. Xavier.
What about St. Xavier winning in overtime against St. Francis
What a
of
fun
Illinois?
game.
Yeah, both
What a
those
fun
teams
game.
really deserve. But St. Xavier, they're no stranger to the playoffs.
They're not.
No, they're not. I feel like every year we cover this, they're here.
They are. Yeah.
I mean, besides last year,
Right.
besides the
It
spring
totally,
season.
it
But I
totally
feel like
is.
they're always here. Concordia, we talked about it. They've gotten these huge wins for the first time in the program that they beat St. Francis and Marion in the same season.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year. And then you add on Indiana. Well, no, hold on. Who was their loss?
Their loss was to Marion.
Marion. Okay. But what I'm saying is, they're building their brand to try to be that top spot in the mid states.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was the first time they'd ever beaten St. Francis in Fort Wayne.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a huge step. All right, let's go back through these here real quick, and we are going to let's go ahead and pick them straight down. That way we can.
Lindsey Wilson blowout.
Yeah, Lindsey Wilson, Morningside.
Morningside blowout.
I'm gonna go with Grandview there. Defense is too much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Grandview, but in a close one.
Drew Bodecker has had a tendency to toss a lot of balls to the wrong team this year.
Right.
I think this is a game where that happens.
Give me Northwestern
Yeah.
in a shootout.
In a shootout. In a
In
close shootout. Give me Northwestern. Koima's going to Koima, and when Koima's,
Yeah.
they're a different squad.
Give me Indiana Wesleyan and a two-score game.
And two-score game.
Two-score game.
So who was it that said? Cody Bauer. More total points will be scored in the IW-KW game than in the Morningside Ottawa game.
I totally agree with that.
It's a distinct
I agree with
possibility.
Cody knows his NAIA football.
Oh, absolutely. Give me Kansas Wesleyan in this game. I'm gonna pick the upset here. Nothing against Indiana Wesleyan or their squad, but we've seen instances, especially in recent history, where first-time entrants into the playoffs, like Indiana Wesleyan, just
Doesn't go well.
it doesn't go well that first season.
I'm going to take them, though.
All right, that's fine. I am not begrudging that pick at all. It's going to be a close one, I think. I'm taking Reinhardt in this game. I think they run over Kaiser, and that defense just they're really good at converting turnovers into points.
I'm going to go ahead and take Reinhardt in this game. Reinhardt big.
Marion Southwestern. I'm taking the Knights here.
I'm taking Marion as well. I think you might see those double tight end sets where they kind of ice the game late. I think closer than Marion might think.
Yeah, I mean Marion's not gonna play a super up tempo game, and so that's gonna play I think a little bit into Southwestern's hands there because I think Marion has a little bit more talent on their team, one from the top player to the bottom. And then, gosh, dog it, this final game.
I'm going with Concordia. I just think they're a little bit more battle tested than St. Xavier.
I'm probably going to eat crow for this one. I'm going to go with St. Xavier. I think the win against USF of Illinois gives them a nice springboard in, and I am not sold on the Concordia offense yet. They can definitely sell me on it this week. I am not sold on it yet. It tickles me to high heaven. Casey Roush, the best punter in the NAIA, and Cat Daddy's got 83 total tackles and 2 forced fumbles. And this is not the first linebacker that Concordia has had punt.
Yeah,
This is a trend with them. This is a trend, and I love it. All right. So before we go, like we do every time, we got to have our first, or read off of our patrons. Again, these are the guys that make it happen. Ace Wellen, Cordell, Austin Steele, Jody Hoagland, Jerry Quickle, Alex Garcia, Monty Mustang, Nathan, Ronnie Atkinson, Fred Christensen, Shirley Labella, Jeremy Bobble, Trisha Prescott, Roger Meyer, Dylan Swears, David, Bob Boone, Cliff Kreisel, Darren, Brett Kroschel, Daniel Quinn, DSU Cone, Ian Sweeney, Blake Sentman, Keith, Charlie Simmons, Marty Seabolt, Justin Cobb, Dane, Nick Bazell, Hayden Ferrigno, Steve Card, Marty McFly, Art Kastner, Jeff, Kyle Gregory, Lance DeMond, Jacob Smith, Tyler Pierce, and Steve Speakman. These are the guys that make sure that we get to do what we enjoy doing and make sure that we get to go to the national championship game. We will see 2 of these 16 teams. Well, you won't.
Yeah,
You're going to be looking at the Coliseum.
I will see them from the Coliseum.
You will see them from the Coliseum. I will see them from Durham. This is the best time of the year.
Absolutely. Playoff time, getting to play for a championship, something that, not many people do.
Yeah, it is special, especially these teams like Northwestern that's getting another crack at it with mostly the same team.
Absolutely.
You got to think they've got a little bit of chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, all 16 teams, it's time to go now.
Everybody's going.
Hey, you're on borrowed time. It's either win or go home.
Absolutely. And to borrow a phrase from our friend Chris Oliver, as long as you go 1-0, you're going to be fine.
That's right.
So, for John Cooper, I am Corey Thorpe. We will see you on the Twitter timeline, and we will be there. But we are signing off for now. Thank you for watching.